Welcome to Gentle's World Agency, where we bring to you the latest news around the world. On this report, speaking at an event with young entrepreneurs in Moscow, Russian President Vladimir Putin appeared to ominously hint at further territorial expansion. It's impossible, do you understand? Impossible to build a fence around a country like Russia. Today, Defense Secretary Wallace and Ukraine's President Zelenskyy meet in Kyiv. Former President Barack Obama urged global leaders to sustain support for Ukraine. Here are the updates. Before we continue with this report, please subscribe to this channel and click on the notification bell so you will be notified when next we drop a new video.
Putin appears to hint at further invasions. Zelenskyy says Ukrainian forces are holding on in the Donbas. Speaking at an event with young entrepreneurs in Moscow, Russian President Vladimir Putin appeared to ominously hint at further territorial expansion. It's impossible, do you understand? Impossible to build a fence around a country like Russia. And we do not intend to build that fence, Putin said, according to Sky News. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has said the country's troops are holding on in cities in the Donbas region. This refers to the Donetsk and Luhansk provinces in the easternmost part of Ukraine. The UK's Ministry of Defence says the Kremlin is struggling to provide basic services to Russian-occupied territories. The ministry has warned the ruined seaside city of Mariupol is at risk of a major cholera outbreak. Russian central bank chair says effect of sanctions is unclear. The head of Russia's central bank says it's impossible to draw conclusions on the impact of Western sanctions at this stage. So far, the effects of the sanctions are less acute than we feared. This also shows the ability of companies to adapt. But it is premature to say that the full effect of the sanctions has manifested itself, Elvira Nabiullina, chair of the Central Bank of Russia, said at a briefing, at which she also announced the lowering of interest rates to their pre-war levels. The situation is uncertain, the situation is developing, and the situation of the structural restructuring of our economy, of its capacity to rebuild, is also a process, so it's premature to draw any conclusions here, Nabiullina said. She also said Moscow was preparing a possible legal challenge against EU sanctions against Russia's Central Securities Depository and measures freezing the settlement of ruble transactions by its EU-based counterparts. She did not provide details, but admitted such a challenge would not be easy. Former President Obama calls for long-term international aid for Ukraine. Former US President Barack Obama speaks at the Copenhagen Democracy Summit in the Skuespilhuset in Copenhagen. Philip Diwali, Ritzau via Reuters. Former US President Barack Obama urged global leaders to sustain support for Ukraine. Our support for Ukraine must remain strong, steadfast and sustained until this conflict reaches a resolution. Obama said during an address at the annual Copenhagen Democracy Summit, applauding the Ukrainian people's historic resistance to Russian aggression. They have united to defend not just their sovereignty, but their democratic identity, and their actions have rallied much of the world behind the values of self-determination and human dignity, Obama said. Because of the courage and because of the solidarity on display, Vladimir Putin is failing to achieve his aims inside of Ukraine and beyond. Meanwhile, Russia is cut off from resources and revenue, and many of its best and brightest have left, a blow to its present, but also to its future, he added. UK Defence Chief meets Zelenskyy in Kyiv, pledges continued support. Ben Wallace, British Defence Secretary Wallace and Ukraine's President Zelenskyy meet in Kyiv. British Defence Secretary Ben Wallace and Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy shake hands after a meeting as Russia's attack on Ukraine continues, in Kyiv, Ukraine. Ukrainian Presidential Press Service Reuters. British Defence Secretary Ben Wallace has met Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy during a previously unannounced visit to Kyiv. The UK Defence Ministry says Wallace also held talks with his Ukrainian counterpart, Alexei Reznikov, during the two-day visit this week. It said Wallace told Zelenskyy that UK's support will continue to meet Ukraine's needs as the conflict enters a different phase. Britain has been one of the biggest donors of military equipment to Ukraine and recently agreed to send rocket launch systems that can target Russian artillery positions in eastern Ukraine. Western officials say the conflict is becoming a grinding slow-motion war as Russian forces inch forward in their offensive to capture Ukraine's eastern industrial heartland. UN says at least 4,339 killed in Ukraine since start of war. Mariupol death toll. People stand amid newly made graves at a cemetery in the course of Ukraine-Russia conflict in the settlement of Staghy Krim outside Mariupol. Ukraine people stand amid newly made graves at a cemetery in the course of Ukraine-Russia conflict in the settlement of Staghy Krim outside Mariupol, Ukraine. Alexander Machenko, Reuters. The United Nations has confirmed 4,339 civilian deaths and 5,246 injuries in Ukraine since Russia invaded its ex-Soviet neighbor on February the 24th. The Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights said the death toll in Ukraine is likely higher because the armed conflict can delay Gento's agency reports. The international organization said most of the civilian casualties recorded were caused by the use of explosive weapons with a wide impact area, including shelling from heavy artillery and multiple launch rocket systems, as well as missiles and airstrikes. Thanks for staying with us. Please support us with your likes, comments, and also share this video. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and to click on the notification bell to be notified when next we drop a new video. See you in the next report.